What does it really mean to feel ignored? Is it just a fleeting sensation, or is it something deeper that echoes within us? Pause for a moment and think about it. All of us have felt ignored at some point in our lives. Perhaps it was during a meeting where your idea was overlooked, or maybe it was in a conversation with someone you love but who seemed to be somewhere else, physically present but emotionally distant. These moments may seem small on their own, but when they accumulate, they build a persistent feeling of invisibility. In the modern world, this feeling is amplified by the fast pace of life. We are constantly connected through technology, yet emotionally disconnected. Responding to instant messages has replaced deep conversations. Online meetings have replaced face-to-face encounters. And even when surrounded by people, we often feel alone. Being ignored is not just about silence, it's about feeling that your presence, your ideas, or your emotions don't matter. When this happens repeatedly, we start internalizing the experience as a message that we are unimportant. This affects not only our self-esteem, but also our sense of purpose and our connections with others. Imagine a person working in a large office. Every day they arrive early, diligently complete their tasks, and leave without anyone noticing their contributions. Over time, they begin to question, does my work really matter? Am I making a difference here? This doubt can grow slowly until they start believing that their presence is irrelevant. Now consider another situation. Someone shares a difficult moment with a close friend, expecting support and understanding, but they notice the other person is distracted, looking at their phone or changing the subject. This seemingly small gesture can generate a feeling of rejection that lingers for a long time. This pain of being ignored is not trivial. It touches something deep within us, the basic human need to belong. Since ancient times, humans survived by forming communities. Feeling part of a group meant safety and protection. When we are ignored, it feels like being excluded from this vital network of connections. Provocative question. When was the last time you felt that your voice truly mattered? What does that reveal about your current connections? Take a deep breath now. Think of a recent situation where you felt ignored. How did it make you feel about yourself and others? Did you notice any changes in your behavior after that moment? Listen closely. Imagine a mother who dedicates her life to her children, caring for them, preparing meals, and offering unconditional support. However, her efforts often go unnoticed. One day, she decides to express how she feels, saying, "Sometimes I feel like my contributions aren't valued." To her surprise, her children react with surprise and gratitude, admitting they never realized the impact of everything she does. This moment of validation completely changes her perspective on the value of her role in the family. These examples show that the pain of being ignored is not just about the other person, it's also about how we interpret the experience. When we feel invisible, we may start questioning our own worth, but this interpretation doesn't always reflect reality. Often, the people around us are simply distracted or too busy to fully notice our presence. Listen closely. Take another deep breath. Now think of someone in your life who truly sees and hears you. How does this connection impact your perception of yourself? What does it reveal about the power of emotional validation? Being ignored is not just an external experience. It's a sensation that resonates deeply within us. It can arise in seemingly simple moments, like when someone doesn't respond to a message or looks away during a conversation. But it can also manifest in broader situations, such as when we feel excluded from important decisions or left out during moments of celebration. Think about an employee who presents an idea during a meeting. They spent hours preparing their suggestion, confident it could bring significant improvements to the team. However, when they share their proposal, they notice no one comments or even acknowledges their contribution. Over time, they begin to question their value in the workplace. This feeling of invisibility affects not only their motivation, but also their self-confidence. Another example is someone trying to share a difficult moment with a close friend. They expect support, understanding, and perhaps even advice. But they notice the other person is distracted, looking at their phone or responding superficially. This small gesture can generate a sense of rejection that lingers for a long time. The implicit message, "What you're saying doesn't matter," can be devastating. When we are repeatedly ignored, we start internalizing this experience as a message that we are unimportant. This can lead to isolation, low self-esteem, and even difficulty connecting with others in the future. After all, why would we emotionally expose ourselves if we expect to be ignored? Metaphor. Being ignored is like an echo that doesn't return. We shout, but silence answers. This image reflects the frustration of trying to reach someone and receiving nothing in return. It's like extending your hand and finding only emptiness. But why does this sensation hurt so much? Because it touches something essential to the human condition: the need to belong. Since ancient times, humans survived by forming communities. Belonging to a group meant safety and protection. When we are ignored, it feels like being excluded from this vital network of connections. Provocative question: when was the last time you felt that your voice truly mattered? What does that reveal about your current connections? Take a deep breath now. Think of a recent situation where you felt ignored. How did it make you feel about yourself and others? Did you notice any changes in your behavior after that moment? Listen closely. Imagine a mother who dedicates her life to her children, caring for them, preparing meals, and offering unconditional support. However, her efforts often go unnoticed. One day, she decides to express how she feels, saying, "Sometimes I feel like my contributions aren't valued." To her surprise, her children react with surprise and gratitude, admitting they never realize the impact of everything she does. This moment of validation completely changes her perspective on the value of her role in the family. These examples show that the pain of being ignored is not just about the other person, it's also about how we interpret the experience. When we feel invisible, we may start questioning our own worth, but this interpretation doesn't always reflect reality. Often, the people around us are simply distracted or too busy to fully notice our presence. Listen closely. Take another deep breath. Now, think of a part of yourself that often stays hidden out of fear of judgment or rejection. How would it feel if that part were finally recognized and valued? Listen closely. Why do so many people feel ignored or irrelevant? This feeling doesn't come out of nowhere. It has deep roots in our experiences, behavioral patterns, and even the way we've been taught to relate to the world. The fast pace of modern life plays a significant role. We are constantly surrounded by stimuli: phone notifications, scheduled commitments, social expectations. Amidst all this, genuine connections often take a back seat. When we prioritize tasks over relationships, we end up neglecting the human interactions that truly matter. For example, imagine a family gathering for dinner, but each member is absorbed in their own device. No one talks, no one shares their experiences from the day. The result is a feeling of isolation, even in an environment that should foster unity. Another important factor is social conditioning. From an early age, we are trained to minimize our emotional needs to avoid conflict or rejection. Children who openly express their emotions are often silenced with phrases like "don't cry" or "be strong." Over time, they learn to hide their vulnerabilities, creating a barrier between who they truly are and what they show to the world. When these hidden parts are ignored by others, the pain is amplified because we ourselves have not fully validated them. Consider a teenager trying to talk to their parents about their feelings. They want to share their insecurities, fears, and dreams, but they notice their parents are too busy to listen. They begin to believe their concerns aren't important enough to be heard. This pattern can repeat throughout life, leading them to emotionally isolate themselves and avoid sharing their true emotions with others. A more subtle example is an elderly person who, after losing close friends, feels that their wisdom and experiences no longer interest the younger generation. They try to tell stories about the past, but they notice the young people around them are more interested in their digital worlds. This feeling of irrelevance can lead them to withdraw even further, believing their contributions hold no value. In the present, in analytical psychology, this phenomenon can be explained by the concept of the persona. The persona is the mask we wear to fit societal expectations. It helps us navigate the world, but it can also distance us from our true identity. When this mask is ignored or rejected by others, we may feel disconnected from who we really are. For example, someone who adopts an extroverted posture to be accepted in a group may feel deeply hurt when they realize their more introverted and reserved personality isn't valued. Reflective question. Have you ever felt the need to hide parts of yourself to be accepted? What happens when those parts are ignored by others? Fictional story. Maria has always been a quiet and reserved person. She avoided sharing her opinions for fear of being judged or rejected. One day, in a group of friends, she decided to openly talk about her feelings regarding a personal issue. To her surprise, they not only listened, but also encouraged her to keep expressing her truth. This moment changed her perspective on the importance of being seen and heard. She realized that by opening up, she created space for deeper and more authentic connections. These examples illustrate that invisibility is not just an external issue. It's also tied to how we present ourselves to the world and how we interpret the reactions of others. When we feel that parts of ourselves are being ignored, we start questioning our worth. But this interpretation doesn't always reflect reality. Often the people around us are simply distracted or caught up in their own challenges. Take a deep breath now. Think of a part of yourself that often stays hidden out of fear of judgment or rejection. How would it feel if that part were finally recognized and valued? Listen closely. The pain of being ignored can be paralyzing, but it can also become a turning point. When we feel invisible, it's as if the world is inviting us to look more deeply within ourselves and discover what truly matters. This pain can be transformed into strength and authenticity as long as we are willing to face it with courage and intention. One of the first steps in this process is recognizing that the feeling of invisibility does not define our worth. Often, we project our insecurities onto the reactions of others, interpreting silences or distractions as signs of rejection. But these interpretations don't always reflect reality. For example, someone who doesn't respond immediately to a message might be busy with other priorities, not indifferent to the content of the conversation. Learning to question our own internal narratives is a crucial step toward reclaiming our sense of importance. Practical tools can help in this process. One of them is reflective journaling. Writing about moments when we feel ignored allows us to process these emotions and identify patterns. For example, by reviewing your notes, you may notice that most of these situations occur in specific contexts, such as at work or in superficial relationships. This awareness creates space for intentional changes. Another powerful tool is guided meditation. Practicing mindfulness exercises helps us reconnect with ourselves and our emotional needs. Imagine someone who constantly feels ignored in their personal life. By dedicating a few minutes each day to meditate, they can start observing their thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice helps them create a deeper connection with themselves, independent of external recognition. Additionally, acts of intentional presence can transform our relationship with the world. Focusing on being fully present with others, even in small gestures, can make a significant difference. For example, maintaining eye contact during a conversation, asking empathetic questions, or simply saying, "I understand how you feel," can have a lasting impact. These gestures not only validate others, but also remind us of the power of small connections. Fictional story. João spent years feeling invisible at work. He believed his contributions were irrelevant and that no one would notice if he simply disappeared. One day, he decided to start a personal project, writing supportive messages to colleagues who were facing difficulties. He began discreetly, leaving encouraging notes on their desks or sending short emails of recognition. To his surprise, these small gestures not only strengthened his connections, but also helped him rediscover his own value. He realized that by focusing on seeing and valuing others, he himself felt more seen and important. This transformation process is closely linked to universal human challenges. The fear of rejection, for example, is one of the main reasons many people avoid exposing themselves emotionally. We fear that by sharing our vulnerabilities, we will be ignored or judged. However, this fear only paralyzes us if we let it. When we choose to open up, even gradually, we create opportunities for deeper and more meaningful connections. The search for connection is another crucial dimension. We are social beings by nature, and genuine connection is essential for emotional well-being. When we feel ignored, this basic need is frustrated. However, we can rebuild these connections by starting with small steps. For example, seeking communities aligned with our values can help us find people who truly see and understand us. Participating in shared interest groups, whether a book club, a yoga class, or a volunteer project, creates opportunities for authentic interactions. Self-love also plays a fundamental role in this process. Learning to validate yourself, regardless of external recognition, is a crucial step toward healing. This means celebrating your achievements, no matter how small, and recognizing your intrinsic worth. For example, someone who feels ignored at work can start remembering moments when they were praised or recognized. Recalling these experiences helps balance the feeling of invisibility and rebuild self-esteem. Motivational question. If you could choose one small action today to feel more seen and valued, what would it be? Take a deep breath now. Think of a recent situation where you felt that your presence mattered. How did it impact your perception of yourself? Now imagine a small change you can make to create more moments like that. Listen closely. Reconnecting with the world begins when we decide to cultivate more authentic and meaningful relationships. This journey is not just about being heard by others, but also about learning to listen genuinely. The key to this transformation lies in practicing vulnerability and intentional presence. When we open ourselves to share our true emotions, we create space for deeper and longer-lasting connections. One of the most powerful tools for reconnecting with others is practicing active listening. Listening doesn't just mean hearing the words someone says. It's about being fully present in the moment without judging or interrupting. For example, imagine a conversation with a friend going through a difficult time. By maintaining eye contact, asking empathetic questions, and avoiding distractions like your phone, you demonstrate that you are genuinely interested in what they have to say. This kind of attention creates a profound impact, making the other person feel seen and valued. Another important strategy is seeking communities aligned with your values. Often, we feel ignored because we are surrounded by people who don't share our passions or interests. Finding groups where you can express your true identity, whether in an art club, a support group, or even an online forum, can be transformative. These communities offer a safe space to be authentic and build relationships based on mutual respect. Expressing vulnerability is also essential for reconnecting with the world. Sharing our struggles and challenges may seem scary, but it's a powerful way to create intimacy. When we reveal parts of ourselves that we usually hide, we give others the opportunity to connect with us on a deeper level. For example, someone who admits to feeling lonely in a social setting may discover that others are going through the same experience. This exchange of vulnerabilities can strengthen bonds and create a sense of belonging. Fictional story. Anna always struggled to open up emotionally. She feared that by revealing her insecurities, she would be judged or rejected. However, after years of emotional isolation, she decided to join a support group for people facing similar challenges. At the first meeting, she hesitated to speak, but eventually shared her story. To her surprise, the other members not only listened, but also related to her experiences. This validation helped Anna realize she wasn't alone and that her emotions mattered. From this experience, she began nurturing more authentic relationships, both within and outside the group. Final message. You don't need to be heard by everyone to be important to someone. Sometimes, touching a single life is enough to leave a lasting impact. This idea reminds us that the value of our connections is not in quantity, but in quality. A single genuine relationship can bring more meaning to our lives than countless superficial interactions. Reflective question. Who are the people in your life who truly see you? And how can you nurture those connections? Take a deep breath now. Think of someone who has always listened to or supported you, even in the toughest moments. How did that relationship impact your perception of yourself? Now reflect on how you can reciprocate that validation, whether through a simple gesture or a sincere conversation. Listen closely. Today, we explored what it means to feel ignored and how this pain can be transformed into strength. We discovered that the feeling of invisibility does not define our worth, but invites us to look more deeply within ourselves. We learned that by practicing tools like reflective journaling, guided meditation, and active listening, we can reconnect with our essence and with others in an authentic way. We also saw that cultivating meaningful relationships is not about being heard by everyone, but about creating genuine connections with those who truly see us. These connections remind us that we don't need to prove our worth to the entire world. Touching a single life can leave a lasting impact, emotional and inspiring message. You don't need to be perfect to be important. Just be yourself and share your light with the world. That light can be a simple gesture, a word of support, or even your silent but intentional presence. Every small action has the power to transform both your life and the lives of others. Call to action, CTA. If this video touched your heart, share your story in the comments. When was the last time you felt truly seen? Together, we can inspire each other to recognize our value and impact. Final impactful statement, because in the end, the world will not be remembered by what we accumulated, but by the love we spread.